2, 3. Okay, folks. I have been asked by my on-campus advisees who are currently in the field on their reflective practice, and some of you folks in advanced concepts who are my advisees in the low residency program, to help formulate people's thinking and give some tips and advice on getting through the capstone writing experience. And I realize that every advisor in PIM will have a different set of helpful hints, but there are some things that are going to look the same no matter which one of us you speak with. So I wanted to do a short video here. I will try to answer, I'm going to anticipate some of your questions, answer some of the ones I've already heard, and then say if you look through and I haven't answered your question, then send me an email, give me a phone call, and we'll try to work some more with these. Okay? So here we go. The question on the tape, how to get through the capstone, one advisor's opinion. Item number 1, click or I pick? That is the question, or is it? I hear people say, I can't decide yet whether I want to do a click or an I pick. And I say, the best way to think about this, you can have the same topic that you're interested in, but the question is, where is the emphasis? Is the question, I have the program in my mind, I know who needs the program, who would benefit from the program, I have a target audience in mind, I have some curriculum, I have some ideas about staffing, I already have the program, for the most part, in my mind. It looks a whole lot like what I did in my coursework. If that's the case, you want to do a click. However, if you have a couple of burning questions before you get to this question, something that says, I wonder what kind of program might make sense, or I wonder if there's a need for, or I've been wondering about this question, this burning question in the field, since I started my coursework, or I ran into it in my practicum, then you want to do an I pick. It's an independent research. It's not locked into the idea of a program model. So I hope that helps. If you are still unsure where your thoughts are, whether you're in the program course linked or you're in the independent question, then I say you should have one of your reflective practice questions be about the topic. If you're in the on-campus model, you have a couple of reflective practice questions that you're going to answer while you're in the field. If you're on the low-res format, you also have some reflective practice, and you have a little choice about what you want to write about in each term. So if you're unsure whether you want an I pick or a click, then my suggestion is have one of your reflective practice questions be about the topic. In that way, you're going out, you're looking at resources, you're thinking in a pointed way about this topic, and you're seeing, what do I know already? What's the need out there for my idea? Who else is writing about this topic? Was this a brilliant idea, but somebody already had it, so I need to find something else? Or am I not finding anything written about this topic? So if I'm not finding anything, is that because I'm onto something brand new? And that also could be really interesting. So spend a little time here in your reflective practice question trying to get more information about this. And that might help you decide whether you want to do a program and you have this design and you're onto it, or that you have an independent question that you want to get more information on. Okay? So, you can't go to the capstone proposal until you have this question answered. So let's get this one answered first, okay? And if you can't get there, have this reflective practice question help you get there, okay? All right. After you know whether you've got a click or an I pick, all right? So now we've got this decision made, right? So it goes away because we got it. We got it. All right. So the next thing that happens is your capstone proposal. Now you're going to have a proposal or a capstone project design proposal, however it's written down in your handbook. You have to let your advisor know what's on your mind, and that's the purpose of this proposal, okay? Now, this proposal, don't ask me how many pages it needs to be because everybody's a little bit different. You can look at this in a number of different ways, okay? Some of you are going to want to use this capstone proposal with the idea that the information that's in that proposal is going to be something that you're going to lift out of the proposal and put in the first draft of your paper. So for some of you, you're going to spend a little more time making sure the literature review is really complete or really well polished before it goes in as a proposal. Some of you are going to say, you know, I've got my idea, I've got my proposal, I'm on the kind of timeline where I want to get it out there and get commentary back and get it done, so mine may not be quite as polished, but it'll have all the parts in it that it's supposed to have in it, just like you found in your handbook, okay? Your capstone proposal comes to me as an advisor, or whoever your advisor is, okay? A lot of you are worried about this thing called this human subjects review. But I'm going to tell you, you notice that it comes after the proposal. You can't do this before you know what it is you're going to do. So in this capstone proposal, don't just follow the guidelines that are in your handbook. There's a piece in there that says not only if you're working on an independent, how are you going to do your research, what questions are you going to ask, who are you going to ask the questions of, using what format are you going to use this. So that'll be your I-pick. In your course link capstone, it might be, what's your need assessment show you? Who are you going to talk to find out what exactly needs to be in this program design? And what are you going to ask them? And the reason why I'm telling you you have to do this proposal first is because this little HSR form is going to say, tell me who you're going to speak with, what you're going to ask them, how you're going to ask them these questions. So in order to fill this out, you would have already had to have done this and gotten this approved. Okay? Now, some people say, I'm going to beat the system here, and I'm going to submit both of these at the same time. You can, if you want. However, if suppose you submit both of these, and this gets started, and then you change, you get feedback from your colleagues, or from me that says, you might want to think about wording these questions differently, or you have too many questions, or are you sure this is who you want to ask these questions of? Do you have the right people or the right subjects for this? So my strong suggestion is get this right, and then that'll make this easier. Okay? I hope this is working. Now, okay, so we're through this. Now we're up to here, and on this HSR form, you can have exempt, you can have an expedited HSR, or you can have a full review. And I know you've talked about these in practitioner inquiry. I also know that all of the information and explanation for these are on the Moodle site, so I'm not going to go into that here. But what I want to mention to you is, if there's any way that you can do an exempt HSR form, it'll go more quickly. Because with each layer, either exempt or expedited or full review, involves more people and more time, okay? So researchers make choices all the time. Project designers make choices all the time, where they can say, I know the ultimate, the perfect project would involve these people in this location with these kinds of questions that I want to know ahead of time. And for an IPIC, you might say, I know the perfect research project means I want to interview these children, or I want to do this kind of observation. Every time you work with a challenged group, you're going to have to move into a more complicated HSR. So come out with your ideas, but then take a look and see if there's adjustments you can make so that you stay in the exempt category and move it through more quickly. Okay? I hope this is helpful. All right. So then your HSR goes through and it's done, and everybody says, go ahead, go do it, go do it, go do it. So let me tell you a little bit about timing here. All right? So if you think that you want to finish in May, for example, all of your paperwork and approvals have to be done in mid-April, a month before. Okay? Now, I'm going to tell you, always plan to be done a month before you have to be done. This is just because the stars do not line up correctly all the time, and something is going to take you longer than you think it's going to take. You get a project at work, you get distracted by something at home, one of us gets distracted here by something takes longer, so plan ahead, all right? If you have to be done by April, aim for March, okay? Now, I'm going to tell you that most capstones, whether they're clicks or they're IPICs, you can count on 3 to 5 drafts of this paper. The first draft, you get your ideas out. You get information from your colleagues, you get information from me, you take a look at it, you go away for it for a day or two, a week, you come back and say, oh my goodness, what was I thinking when I put this section over here and that section over there? Or, did I write this? This isn't clear. Whatever it is, I can tell you that your first draft is the get it on paper. The second draft is let me organize what's on this paper. The third draft, at least, is what have I missed? And tinkering and headings and citations and format, and I can't get the page numbers to line up right. Now, that's your best case scenario. I have had students finish either a course length or an IPIC in 2 to 3. But I can tell you the average is a whole lot more like 4 or 5 drafts. So if you think about your timing here and you're aiming for March, if you post something on Moodle and all of your colleagues respond in a week, and then I respond in 2 weeks, and then you leave yourself time to work on it, you see how this time's chewing right up here, okay? So start in March as your final date and back yourself up, okay? Move yourself through how long it's going to take you. And some drafts will take longer than others, but figure on 3 to 5 drafts. Start at your end date and work backwards from there. Set a timetable that you really want to try to stick with, okay? And put it somewhere where you're going to see it. on the corner of your computer, on the bulletin board where you look at it. Share it with someone who you see at work all the time, who might be able to ask you questions and help keep you excited about what you're doing. Work off your timetable. I would say that what I've heard from folks is to pick either a colleague or two in your work environment, or one or two of your cohort mates that are on a similar timetable as you, and try to keep track of each other, okay? It's easier to do this if you're working with someone else in the same time frame. I don't need to know about this. This is up to you, how you want to do this, but I can tell you that a lot of folks find it easier to have at least one or two other people on the same time frame, because guilt is a wonderful thing, and they start to feel guilty that they haven't done what they were supposed to do. My favorite example of this is when we had a bunch of folks that were working on their capstone that work in Bliss House up in S.I.T. study abroad, and they would get together once a month for lunch, and the only rule was that you had to show up and you had to bring something. And so there was a mad scramble about 4 days before lunch, where everybody who had to go to this lunch got together all of their things. And in some months, some folks made a lot of progress. And in other months, other people didn't make so much progress, but the fact that they had this monthly meeting moved them through it. And they were a great cheerleading group for each other. So find yourself a support team, maybe a smaller group within your cohort, or some folks at work. Okay, general advice on this. Remember, this paper is only, I underline only, 30 to 50 pages in length. This is your TPI paper, or your TPAP paper, was about 12 to 15 pages, and you did that in a term. You're looking at a paper that's about twice the length of that. Maybe 3 times the length of that if you really got a lot to say. You are not writing a doctoral dissertation. You are not writing the definitive work on a subject. You are writing a 30 to 50 page paper. As you write, you are going to come up with new ideas. Unless you're someone that can be pretty linear, you're going to find one little rabbit trail you want to follow, and then another little rabbit trail you want to follow. Find a way to keep yourself on track. Some people have a pad that says listed great ideas, and as they come up with a new idea, they post it for themselves, and then they get back to what they were doing. So yes, your work is going to move your thinking in a lot of directions. Write them down, and then see if you really want this 30 to 50 page paper to absorb that new direction, or you want to save that for the next piece of writing you do. Okay? All right. Pick something similar to what you're doing in your work environment, is one of my last pieces of advice here. If you are working on something in your work environment and your capstone is about something that's entirely different than that, you will work really hard in a day. And what's going to happen is you're going to put in an 8 or a 10-hour day, and then you're going to go home, and then you're going to have to try to get yourself excited about something else that's entirely different. So if there's a way to either use literature resources from one place to another, or an idea that is something similar enough about it in your work that you can be thinking about it in the back of your mind while you're working, then it's easier to slide from one topic into the next and keep yourself moving forward. I know that some people have said to me, I'd rather have something that's entirely different so I can escape. Writing a capstone is not an escape. That's writing your next science fiction novel. Writing a capstone is something you want to do so that you can finish your degree and come back into the capstone seminar and be on your way. You always can come back. We love you. We want to see you, but you want to get the paper done, okay? So try to pick something that's similar to your work. And the last piece of information I would share with you is something that some of my former advisees have made fun of, and that is I always say to them, move like a fish. A fish has to keep moving in the water or it stops and it dies. Keep moving on this capstone. Keep moving. Do not stop. If you post something to Moodle and you're waiting for your cohorts or your colleagues to respond, or you're waiting for me to respond, all right, you owe yourself a day or two off. You worked hard to get rid of this draft or this proposal or whatever it is you were working on. But after a day or two or a finite period of time that you have allowed yourself to breathe, get back to it. If you haven't heard from other people, send them a note, and while you're waiting, start to work on the bibliography. Or start to write up your table of contents page. Or start to write your appendices and put them in order. But keep moving. Do not stop. Organize your desk, the piles on your desk, so that everything is tidy for when it comes back. Whatever it is you do, don't stop moving. Because when you stop, it's harder to get the inertia moving again. Okay? And if you stop for too long, you're going to find something else that you're more excited about than getting this capstone done. And then it becomes a chore and not part of a really interesting, exciting academic experience. Okay? So folks, I hope this answered some of the questions that you've had. If I haven't answered your questions, please get back to me. But I wanted to get you folks moving. If your ideas are too big, then work on your IP question. If your ideas feel too smushy or fuzzy, do a little reading and start to pull them together, okay? Don't wait till you have the perfect question to start your work, because nobody has the perfect question. Get what you think you want to do, get started, move like a fish, and it will become more clear as you move along. Okay? I'm ready. I'm ready for you to be done. I love working with you as students, but I love seeing you as alums too. So let's get through this capstone and be done with it. Okay? Thanks, folks. Keep in touch.